We're all just starving artists and desperate writers, waiting for the brush to bleed, the colors to heal, and the words to stream. Paintings tending toward the stories we hold. We're just waiting to paint one of our own. You see, I grew up on one of the safest streets you could think of, under one of the safest roofs I knew, in one of the safest cities in the nation, next to the most dangerous in the world. And when I was little, I would pretend my daddy left us, or that my mommy would beat us, so that I was dying of some terrible cancer. And I would cry for these made-up stories, and then remind myself I was safe. See, I feel bad for those who weren't that lucky, you see, because I never had a tragic story to tell. I just a wallflower to those around me. I remember going to your best friend's funeral, and I couldn't understand why his parents couldn't deal with homosexuality, but they could deal with the noose around his head, as a result of their disapproval. And I couldn't understand why they didn't cry. And I was friends with a girl who was raped by her father, and she told me never to tell anyone because it happened so long ago that there was no point bringing up old scars. So I stayed silent, and I couldn't understand why she dated a new boy every week. And I couldn't understand why the same day Mom took you to the doctor, she came back and took the lock off the doors. You see, I couldn't understand, but I knew. Because like any little pestering sister, I went through your stuff and found your book of wounds. And with every line I read, I couldn't understand why there was a needle taped to the back and pictures of you bleeding angry words. I couldn't understand why you didn't wear sleeveless clothes. So I stayed silent to protect you. And the more I protected you, the longer you hurt. And the longer you hurt, the longer I protected you. Until the day Mom came and took the lock off the door and told me stuff I already knew, but couldn't understand. I mean, how could I? I was never molested by my friends in the 4th grade. Our aunt never hit me because of answered problems. I didn't know what depression was, and I never had a tragic story to tell. And now we're years ahead. And pill bottles and runaways from home are stories of the past. But every time I see those raised ridges up against your left arm, it takes me back to a time where I wanted to shake you and tell you, I love you enough for the both of us. Why can't that be enough? We're all just starving artists and desperate writers, waiting for the brush to bleed, the colors to heal, and the words to stream. Paintings tending toward our stories we hold. We're just waiting to paint one of our own. Thank you.
We are invincible. Reaching for our dreams placed high among stars and digging up old ways left by our fathers, we never learn new tricks. We think in mass text and sideways placed hats. Yes, this means we don't give a fuck. We are the teenage youth, and we are confused. Because you tell us life isn't fair and show us that money can make it so. You tell us pain isn't real, but our scars, they tell another tale. And we keep waiting around for the time that what we do will matter. We're fighting a war that we don't know how it started, or where it started, or why it has to continue. We're on terrorism? Fuck it. I'll carry your gun and I'll sustain your peace. And anyone who thinks otherwise can go to hell. Bullet in the head, 2 apiece. We are the teenage youth, and we are fucking mad. Because our parents don't understand. Our boyfriends are jerks. We're goddamn victims of pituitary glands. Therefore, our thighs will always be too big, our dicks too small, our breasts too hidden, our clothes so high-ridden, we need to let them sag down, touch the ground, and visually prove our genitals are still intact. Our angst lodged deep in our throats, and the thought of the next best thing rotting in our heads, media overload, and sometimes words are too long to be expressed within one intake of air. LOL. We are the teenage youth. And we don't give a fuck about spelling, chores, math, economy, home improvement, bills, curfew, the effects of drugs on our brains. Just let me feel good for one more minute. We are the teenage youth. And we believe in love, peace, and unity. If everyone under the stars and stripes listens to our music and likes our hair, we are one. We are the teenage youth. And we are learning to speak with our hands. And think with our phones. To give time to the change of trends and how long it takes for the radio to give birth to a song and let it fall off the face of the earth. Because you taught us to speak faster than we can think, to pose nude with silicone tits, to lock our doors and question people's friendly hellos. We are the teenage youth, and we are what you once were, and will be what you now are. And when we see our children speaking in 2-syllable words and wearing jetpacks, because they will be using jetpacks, and going to the moon, literally, I mean, not figuratively like we do today, fold our arms, shake our heads, and wonder what has become of today's youth. We are the teenage youth, and you created us. Yeah.